Righto, good morning. We're doing TIG intro today. So I'm gonna go over the AC edition first, and then I'll do another video for DC, but it's essentially the same and you should be able to pick it up from there, all right? Now, on our machine here, I'm using a Unimig 320. So over here, we've got it set on AC mode. Our AC waves over here are square wave, triangle wave, sine wave. Torch modes here. Now, when you're TIGging, try and get used to 4T. This one's got special modes, so my 4S is a 4T. If I go on 4T, I actually miss out on a lot of settings, so they're just special modes. I need them on this machine. If you don't have 4S, you'll just be on 4T. High frequency allows our trigger to operate on our torch. So you on, off, essentially. The other one here is pulse on and off as well. You'll use pulse when you're fusing or stainless, but I generally always keep it off when I use my filler to do my dabs, and that'll give us our dimes. This over here is pretty simple. So it works from our left to our right. So this is, can you stay there please? So the flashing light here, that is our post gas, right? So that is the amount of gas it'll flow before it gets to our start amps. Our start amps here, now I'll work through our trigger modes as we go, but as I hold my first step on, my first trigger, I'll hold that, it'll go to what I've got set here of 40 amps currently. Righto. Now that's pretty important. It's gonna just allow your arc to not wander too much and find the zone it needs to go. This is the time it takes to get from start amp to peak amp. So allowing that a little bit more time to get to these zones, that can be faster to our finishing amps. I like this to come down a little bit slower. So it's starting, working up to our peak amps. If you can see that. Our peak amp is the max our trigger will go. So our scroller will go. So if I push this all the way forward, I think this one's all the way back, that's our max, and then all the way the other way is our minimum, which will be our 40. So the further we have that gap apart, the finer that adjustment is. So if I push a little bit, it's probably only going to move a couple amps. If I were to put that obviously on 200 and that was on 230, and I've got 30 amps of scrolling in my scroll. So you'll find that adjusting that to your own preference is pretty important, and you'll get the hang of that. We'll jump over to here, just ignore our base amps here. This is the time it takes to get from our peak to our finish. So it'll take currently 3.3 seconds to go from our peak to our finishing amps. I actually like that up a little bit higher. And that's pretty much it. So that's just gonna allow a little bit more of the heat to get out of your zone and stop any dimples happening or any spot tacks cracking. If you have an issue of cracking, it's because you're shrinking it too fast. The other way to stop spots from cracking is just putting an extra dab of filler on top. Finishing amps, my light's broken, but same as our start over here. Again, this is just where it's going to finish up. You want that a little bit higher than your start. Now, keep in mind, Ali is very, very different when it comes to amperage. It takes 4 times the amount of heat to weld, and it disperses that 4 times faster as well. So we're actually going to be a lot hotter here. If you were to do this on stainless, you just blow a clean 5mm hole straight through it. And this is our post gas. So pre-gas, post-gas, very important to cool your tungsten down. If you had that on 0, you would just get a grey tungsten. So you want to always aim to try and get some colour in your tungsten. This just stops the oxygen getting sucked into that hot tungsten. So it stops contamination. If you're getting a lot of contamination issue, it can also be because of that, righto? Now, tungsten size, when I'm on Ali, I like 3.2. 3.2 just allows me to do a little bit more amperage control without burning it out and getting inside my weld as much. I weld hot because I want to get in and out as fast as I can because I'm here to try to make money. Anywho, tungsten size, so if you're doing like stainless, 1.6, 2.4, 3.2 if you're doing like some 12mm plates and stuff's really good. But anyways, we can go over that in a later time. AC balance is our cleaning cycle, so further in the negative, the more cleaning we have, further in the positive, the less cleaning we have. So if you're, this is gonna really affect how much amperage you actually have input wise. So the more cleaning we have, the more amps it needs to do the weld, so you actually have to adjust it. It's an on-flow effect. So you always want it in the negative. Every machine's different, but mine's always set at about -5, and it really likes that -5, which is a nice even number for me. Hertz ratio here, the higher this number, the closer our pulses are between each other, our hertz are between each other, so the less penetration we have. So if I'm doing really fine welds, you want that up to, you know, let's just hypothetically say 200. When I'm on alley, I'm always between 120 and 60. 60 is really nice to be at. And you just adjust it that little bit to find your zones. So the lower this is, the less correction I need for my peak amp. So my 230 is more utilized over at 60 rather than 200. Anyways, hope that helps. Chat soon. Let's get some content out there.